So, hi everybody. Here we are, ready to go. Are we ready? We are here and streaming to Facebook. So, let's start with our jingle. Jingle, everybody. And here we go.
Get a chair, grab a seat, or we'll sweep you off your feet. We move, we groove, you got Mel. Ease your legs, rest a while, all you gotta do is smile. We're swell, can't you tell you got Mel? When the show begins, you better hold on real tight, or before you know it, you'll be high as a kite. Take a break, settle down, we're the only show in town. SRO, don't you know you got Mel? Give it up, don't think twice, we're a hurricane on ice. What the hell, give a yell, ring your bell, show and tell. Mademoiselle, give a smell, you got Mel.
You've got Mel.
Get a chair, grab
Mel.
we'll sweep you up.
Oh no, everybody.
You got Mel.
Enough.
Rest a while.
That's enough if you got Mel. Okay. Here we are. Danniel,
Mel,
it's great to see you.
great seeing you.
To save some time, I played the jingle already. So you're already on Facebook Live.
Cool.
And can you move the camera a little bit away from the window? So
Sure.
beautiful face. More.
Fine. More?
Yeah.
More?
Away from the window. More away, more away, more away.
More away from the window, more
Yeah.
into my mess. In my
We
room,
love your mess.
in my office.
We love messes. It's so good to see you.
Great seeing you.
So it's been many years.
Yeah, too many.
So start at the very beginning. We met about 12 or 13 years ago.
Something like that. Uh-huh.
You were a movie maker in Los Angeles.
Right.
You gave up all of that glitz and gold to come back to Israel. But how did you, where are you from? Where were you born? Your parents, your life. You talk and I'll shut up.
Cool. I was born in Haifa, in Israel. My parents are originally from Romania, and they were new young immigrants when I was born. I'm always laughing. I was made in Romania, but was born in Israel. My passion was always cinematography. When I was 6 years old, they were quite poor in the beginning of their way in Israel. Today, everything is fine, obviously. And they heard about the movie E.T., Steven Spielberg's E.T. They decided to see it in a free day they had. And they said to themselves after seeing it, we must take Danny today to see this movie too. And they had the second round with me. And during the movie, I was very excited because we didn't have TV at home. We have kind of a very old, tiny black and white TV. I never saw a movie in a movie theater. And I was very excited, and I asked them all the time, Mother, Father, who decide what they are saying? Who decide what we are seeing? Not a question of a 6 years old guy seeing a movie first time in his life. And I was like obsessed with enthusiasm. And this night I couldn't sleep. In the middle of the night, I just came to their living room, sleeping room, jump on their
And you
bed.
checked to see whether E.T. was in the closet.
No. And jumped on their bed and woke them up. And they said, Daniel, what's going on with you? What are you doing? Why are you waking us up in the middle of the night? And they said, Mother, Father, I have an announcement. When I will be big, I'm going to be a movie maker. Wow. And so this passion is built in on me. I don't know how quick can it be today when I see many people searching their way in life. It's kind of awkward even how a 6 years old really knows what his destiny. And I'm very connected to it until today.
So
Um,
as a young person, after you came home, you studied the cinema. What did
right.
you do?
At the end of my studies, I got to get a fund from Channel 2 for a regular, not a specific fund for new young filmmakers, just a regular fund. And I won over many others. And it wasn't just a chance, I think, because I had my first broken heart a year before finishing my cinematography studies. And a good friend gave me a book called in English, Robot Sings a Serenade. And this book is a poetry book telling the story of a guy who became slowly became a robot because his heart became an iron heart after he got broke down because of a love that was ended. And I got inspired by the book that he gave me when I finished my first relationship, and I was very sad. Um, and the inspiration I saw in my eyes was to kind of giving a narration to the poems and to show my own interpretation that is more optimistic. And when I finished my studies, I saw a very rare opportunity to do kind of more creative, nuts stuff, and to do kind of a video art, video poetry, and
This was after your bachelor's degree.
yes, yes.
Where
After
did you
my
study?
bachelor degree, I just finished it, and I got
Where
this
did you study?
opportunity. It was a kind of a mixture of open university, but it wasn't open studies. It was in the open university, Channel 8 and the Educational Television of Israel.
Wow.
At the beginning, it was a dream of two filmmakers, Israeli filmmakers.
So do you receive the scholarship and then you produce the film?
I got it exactly when I finished my studies. It was like so synchronized that it was like a sign, you know, it gave me kind of a push to know I'm in the good path. So, so I went into this project that was very creative and not a usual thing for Channel 2. It was part of Channel 2 itself, like the production of the channel, not a specific production company. And when I finished creating this video, I moved to another apartment in Tel Aviv. And I had kind of a interesting movement with my apartments while I was a student. I had a dream to move every time a bit closer to the sea, to Tel Aviv Sea. And then when I will be really near the beach of Tel Aviv, that the next year will be in the United States. Somehow I had this kind of
So you're
intention.
just gonna get to the sea and then jump over to Los Angeles.
Exactly, yeah. Fix my English. It's good. I didn't practice it enough lately.
We have to work on that a bit, but that's okay.
Cool. And so I really found myself every time moving to a better apartment and closer to Tel Aviv beach area. And when I went out with this clip, with this music video, with this project, after the day it got live, it was the last day of my last apartment before the 1 year the beach. So I moved really to Hayarkon 60, exactly, looking at all the boats and the people on the beach. And I said, okay, I'm a naive guy. I'm kind of a bit nerdy artist. This is my time to practice, to be a bit rude, to try, even if I'm afraid to begin talking with women on the beach. And I laughed about it with my second serious girlfriend that I met on the beach. I invited her to a date, and I found myself missing her and not having any fun with women for a year because she began study in the United States, and I stayed in Israel and had few more projects moving on because of the first one on Channel 2. And after a year, we missed each other, we met, and I decided that it's really a lottery. It's like both love and my big dream opportunity, and I moved after her to United States.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly what I imagined because I came totally naive and open. Just like all United States is a place to make movies and to be part of the industry. And she learned in West Virginia, which is kind of far away from LA, very far away.
Somebody should have told
Yeah, yeah, but nobody told me. But it was an experience. And I did search my way there inside filming, and I found a little production company. They saw a few of my videos, and I showed them proudly my music video for Channel 2, this poetry videos that was very, no. And they said, listen, I know a few country singers. They are young and new country singers. They have contracts in Nashville. They don't have a lot of budget, but two of them live here in West Virginia, and it's more convenient to them, and nobody here know to do music videos. And if somebody knew, they moved already to LA or to New York. So it's your opportunity. And I found
the last filmmaker in West Virginia.
exactly. So very fast rumors spread that there is one Israeli guy with awkward accent that is even more weird than the accents of people in New York. Because for West Virginians, a New Yorker is already a foreigner. So an Israeli is like totally an alien, E.T. again.
Exactly.
And I found myself doing few music videos for country singers, and it really opened my career. But I still couldn't survive from it. And I tried to figure out my way how to stand above water while living there with this girlfriend. And I decided to check online to see what can I find, maybe in the area. And suddenly I see an advertisement of Google itself that they just purchased kind of a new project called YouTube. And it was the beginning of 2005. And they said, we have a department called Google Videos, and we may give you work with us or with some companies that need promotion, want to put stuff on YouTube and so on. I immediately understood the potential for the future. And I began working with them. And very fast, I began working regularly with a specific company advertising on YouTube and on Google Videos called expertvillage.com. Today they are called ehow.com. Sure. And they searched for a lot of short documentaries about artists, philosophers, cooks, chefs, and so on. And they paid horribly in the beginning, but for me it was like, they didn't mind to give me to work all the time because they needed knowledge in any field that you can film on video and to have those how-tos on the video.
And you were right there in West Virginia.
And I was right there with nobody else thinking of working with them in this area.
It's crazy.
And I found myself really beginning to traveling all the way from West Virginia to Washington, D.C., to New York, finding people to do interesting interviews with. And when she finished her studies, something like a year and a half later, I already got kind of a name. They really appreciated my work. They saw I'm a serious filmmaker doing the stuff well, aesthetically and any other way, content-wise. And I told them, listen, I lived in West Virginia because of my girlfriend. Now she's going to finish her studies and she doesn't mind to live in New York, in LA. And I'm kind of worried. I don't know how fast it will work for me to find a job in the industry, which is my big dream. So I'm open to travel. Tell me where you need a lot of filming and I will go there. I want to do a trip that eventually will get to LA. We found ourselves for 2 years just moving from a place to another place, from motel to motel, many times meeting beautiful, amazing people who we felt enough trust to go and sleep in their places when we got invitation here and there. And it was an amazing adventure. I basically traveled for 2 years all over the United States, choose myself spontaneously where to put the finger on the map, going there, meeting interesting people. It was a job. I needed in every place. I didn't have the luxury to rest. I didn't become a millionaire from this job. It was kind of hunting the money. Yeah. But I stopped in any place and immediately began to research who is the interesting guys in town. To continue talking, it's
Of
fine.
course.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay.
It's your program.
It's
But I
my
mean, like, but you move on to LA now.
Yeah, and now I was very close to the point of moving to LA after those 2 years of traveling. I've been in Arizona. I got by mistake to Sedona, an interesting place that eventually I discovered that many people get to this place first time by mistake. Very mystical, a lot of shamans, Native American shamans from different areas in the States got in ancient times to Sedona. It had different name then, but to the area of Sedona in order to make the most sacred ceremonies. So I said, okay, I love mysticism. I love spirituality. Let's do movies about shamans, about many kind of shaman witches, all the ladies from native tribes. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And who was paying you for all these movies?
It was paid by this company, which was called expertvillage.com. Today they are called.
They paid you. They paid you to shoot with shamans?
Just to shoot interesting people. I did need to check with them every time when I found somebody and I said, "Hey, this guy is a sculptor."
I'm looking for a job.
Let's go. Let's do a movie for Channel 2 Israel, traveling with Ehau and meeting amazing people.
Let's go find.
I don't mind to do it again.
Let's find some Israeli shamans.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I'm for it. Let's
okay.
Do it.
And then what happened?
And after staying in Sedona, I intended to stay there only a month or two because it's kind of close to LA already. It's kind of central Arizona, 8 hours driving to LA. Short in American measurements of space and time. And after 2 months, I understood that I fell in love with Sedona, that I just can't leave it, which is very interesting because I dreamt all my life to get to LA. I didn't become prosper enough to trust that I have the money to survive in LA for a long term, you know. So it was awkward.
And your girlfriend is still with you in Sedona?
Yes.
And she was like, whatever works for you.
She enjoyed it. It was an adventure. We fell in love into this adventure. It was amazing. And when we saw that it's working well in Sedona, a guy that is one of the owners of one of the most famous spas in the world came to me and said, "Listen, my spa is number 2 in the world. All the famous people come here. Let's do something not for Google. Let's do it for me, for my business. Do you mind to be a partner?" And I said, "Sure. I'm a filmmaker. If you're not Spielberg, you have big chance to be somewhere on the street begging for money. So I'm really happy for the idea. Let's be partners. Let's do it." And we began working on videos for this spa. We also cooperated with Sedona officials for a kind of Sedona city, if you can call it. It's 25,000 people, all this place. By the way, 25,000 people, but 3 million tourists per year.
Wow.
For landscape, tourism, and art, because they have only one road. And because of the beautiful landscape, a lot of people began traveling there. When people saw the beauty of the place, many artists began moving there. And when I came there, it was exactly the big flourish time. It's like a lot of people moved there with their art. And you have galleries more beautiful than museums and the most beautiful museums. It's just amazing. And amazing landscape.
And the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. Absolutely in middle of nowhere, but for me, it's like the real spiritual Jerusalem of the world in a way, because this place is really a place of peace. They have what is called magnetic vortexes in a specific frequency that in an awkward way affect most of the people, and I experience it, so I know it's true, and I talked with enough people there, to just let go from their thoughts. So many people who try for years to practice meditation and yoga, getting to Sedona and after 10 minutes of closing their eyes on those specific points, getting an amazing experience of high, of enlightenment, It's a very weird place. Middle of nowhere, but center of everything. For me, this place became kind of my own private paradise. I miss this place and the people there. You see things there that you don't see in any other place in America. And as you understand, I already traveled enough. They don't close their cars. They don't close the doors of their homes. And it's 2 hours north from Phoenix, which is crazy what is going on there. There is a lot of crime in Phoenix. Sedona, absolutely peaceful. Everybody's smiling. Even the hard workers have all the time a real honest smile, not a polite one on their face. So very interesting place. Anyway, I stayed for a full year. Everybody told me that there is no chance that I will find in a city of 25,000 people a home for a full year. And until this stage, I lived for 2 months in hotels and spent the money I wanted to use in LA. and I said, it's not possible. Everybody wants to live here after they visit the place, even for a short time. And I succeeded to find a family that had a guest house with an amazing wall built from like a kind of, I don't know the word in English, זכוכית משוריינת.
Reinforced glass.
Yes. So one of the walls was towards the landscape of Sedona, which is beautiful, very red mountains with forests and waterfalls, and all this kind of interesting desert. And they had a huge wall to the nature from both sides. And when the winter came, I saw a lot of deers coming to the wall, looking at me and my girlfriend. And we are waving them back, and you see the snow falling on them, and you see all this landscape. Crazy, crazy place. I recommend deeply to visit this place for whoever didn't visit there. It's also really a center of spiritual development. You have there a group of people that go after a woman who is a priest that practice ideas from ancient Egypt in the time of the pyramids. You have a group of Hare Krishna people. You have a group that practiced open relationship in a big commune. Like everybody there are a bit crazy, but very interesting.
all the weirdos.
All the weirdos, good weirdos.
This is where Burning Man comes from.
Exactly.
You know, you're like that guy from the I can't remember the name of the film with Tom Hanks.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. How can I forget?
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of an intelligent Forrest Gump.
Yeah, okay. If you're intelligent, it's fine.
You were at YouTube before there was YouTube. You were at YouTube before anybody knew what YouTube was.
Yeah, yeah.
You were at Burning Man before they invented Burning Man. and then what happened?
And then I really had enough of it. And I decided, okay, I had the experience. And I just wanted to finish the project with this big spa. And suddenly all the tourism collapsed. It was 2009. And nobody came anymore because America immediately kind of held back their money, obviously, when you have a huge crisis. It was amazing. It's like mushrooms after the rain. You saw a new message on every second home, for sale, for sale, for sale. And it's a city of rich people that live there. And it's like, it was amazing. You really could feel in Sedona very symbolically the collapse of United States.
Wow.
In the big economical crisis of 2009, 8-9. So he decided to stop the project. This ex-girlfriend had enough of the tension in this time. And then she had somebody in her family feeling very bad. She decided to fly to Israel, and her grandfather died on the time of her flight to Israel. Her father called me telling me he don't know how to even tell her that they're going to pick her from the airport directly to funeral. So she decided she doesn't want to come back. She understood that I want to try to somehow maintain myself there and to see if I can save this project that was dear to my heart. And I worked 2 months freely just to create this project with a spa. and it didn't work out. The spa really got to hard times also, and came the time that I decided, okay, this is not the time to stay in the States. I also missed home very much, and I made a kind of an almost full year visit in Israel. Tried to save my relationship, but something changed. She got insulted that I didn't come fast enough back to Israel. I was angry that she didn't come back to support me, and every one of us got to his own planet.
So you never made it to Hollywood.
Almost.
You
You knew me. We met in this year when I came for 1 year to
yeah.
Israel.
Remind me how we met, because it seems like I've known you for so long. Do you remember how we met?
I remember our first meeting. I don't remember anymore how we met. I think you had a woman that helped you in creating different kind of projects, and you had in your mind to do something for KinneretNet with Jeff Palver.
Yeah, that's how I met you, through KinneretNet, when we did the elevator pitch.
Let me think for a second.
No, I knew
No. We knew each other already for almost 3 years when it happened.
Yeah.
No. So I don't remember. No. Interesting. I don't remember how.
We have to stick our head back into that vortex.
Yes.
You stick your head into the magnetic vortex, and I will stick
Cool.
my head into the microwave, and we'll figure it out.
We will figure it.
And you came back, and you stayed here.
Yes, I stayed for a full year. I did. I knew that if I'm staying more than a year, I'm going to lose already work permissions that I had in the States. So I was kind of torn what to do about that. And then while staying already in Israel, I discovered that Israel is promised to returning citizens nice budget, something like 15,000 shekel or something like that, to take a course of their choice to improve themselves. Okay. If they are coming back on the expense of the country. I discovered it. I went to Misrad HaKlita, to the immigration office, and I said, listen, it's kind of awkward, but if you're offering it, hey, I just returned. And I took a course, advanced course in digital effects, because many times I had a dream to have the possibility and the ability to be a one-man band, that even if I want to do visual effects or something really impressive, to have all the knowledge myself, just me, green screen, few softwares, and all the knowledge here. And I took this amazing course, which was amazing. And when I finished it, it was like 2 days before the end of 1 year cycle, and I wasn't allowed to stay more than a year because I would automatically lose my permission. So I didn't know what to do, if to stay or not to stay. And then I got a letter that I supposed to get now the money back from the country. And I went to the immigration office and said, listen, I'm torn if to go back or not. I had a dream to be in LA. But if you'll really give me this money, I feel a moral obligation to stay. If not, I may go back to a few years to check LA out. And they said, sure, you will get it out. And I waited in the office for a short time. And then they said, oh, listen, somehow they canceled it all. Nobody got it, only few people got it, and there is no budget for it. And I said, hey, but I know there are 2 friends of mine that returned back because they heard from me and they saw their promotion on your website. Yes, but we don't have budget eventually. Some people got it, the most didn't. So it kind of reminded me of the challenges of Israel. But for me, I love Israel more than any place in the world. But I had this dream, and for me it was like...
We're excited now. So did you stay or did you go?
So I decided to go back because I said it was kind of a moral obligation. If the country pay me, I'm staying now. If not, I want to go and to continue with my dream. I paid it myself and went back to LA.
You went to LA in the end?
Yes. So I said, I must give it a chance. What happened? I got to LA to a good friend of mine that studied with me.
Danniel, briefly, because we want to talk about the cinema and the other.
Oh, sure. So very briefly, I got to find myself on a very short period of time, appearing in few TV shows as a beat, as an extra and as a beat, and a few different movement and connections. I got to get a job offer, kind of a stable job offer from Israeli guys that have a moving company, but serious one that fly people to Hawaii and also take by ship all their stuff to Hawaii. And they wanted a serious TV commercial for a deal they had with Hawaiian Airlines. So I made a commercial for them for a very low budget. They got excited and I began to get high budget commercials. It was an amazing year, but after almost a year in LA and making few great connections, I didn't know how much it will take to create the right connection to really get to do a movie there. And I knew that for me, LA is for filmmaking, not for commercials. Commercials I can do in Israel. And after some time, I made connection with a woman that her and her husband invited all the crazy Israeli artists, filmmakers, musicians, actors, to come to make their Friday in their place. They were part of Chabad group in LA. And I always laughed with them. They maybe have the intention to make people coming back into tshuva religious. And I said, okay, you will not make me a religious person, but I love you guys dearly because you really made me know a lot of people in the industry and Israelis and to feel more connected. And they say to me, listen, you also became a good friend of us and we want to invite you not to a Friday dinner, but to a separate dinner with friends. And I said, okay, I'm delighted, I will come. And a week later, I arrived to this event and we sat, only me, them, and one more couple. And it was like, okay, discovered to be that this guy is a really good friend of them. Good friend of them, yeah, I'm saying it right. And
For sure, you can say whatever you like.
okay. And he told me, listen, I am the second most important people in one of the big, I don't want to say the studio name here because I'm afraid people will ask me for favors.
Yes.
It's a bit mess if it will happen. But he said, I'm the second most important person in one of the big studios. And I love these people dearly. And if you are their friend and now I sit with you for a full evening, you are clever, you are imaginative. And honestly, they showed me a few of your works and I felt a bit embarrassed because I knew all my works are in very low budget in proportion to Hollywood stuff. And he said, don't worry, I can recognize, I learned filmmaking myself many years ago. I know how to recognize a limitation of budget and what a person can do. And you are welcome to send me a script if you'll just have a script that you believe in, but you know how busy we are. So even if I'm giving you this favor, don't spend it on the wrong script. and I went with this promise, sure, went from their place later this night, driving with myself on my I had a beautiful Sunfire open roof car, really feeling the Hollywood dream. I even had a home with a swimming pool. And I'm dreaming on the 101 from Hollywood area to the Valley of LA. And imagine with my good imagination how it will feel to just use this connection, offering an amazing script, and everything is going to happen. And I suddenly felt an horrible loneliness, horrible feeling of separation from the right destiny for me. And I just understood, okay, you have the best connection you can find. Now go back to Israel. If you had the right script by yourself or by somebody that you know, awesome. If no, it's better to keep it and not to regret to the right moment. And I just, in 2.5 weeks after this meeting, I just left LA because I knew I have nothing to set there anymore. It's not my home. For me, Israel is my home. I also missed during my family, my parents. I decided I'm going to go directly back to Haifa, not to live in any other place. To manage working in this industry, even though everything is in Tel Aviv and surrounding a bit Jerusalem, And I came back to Israel. And the amazing thing was, when I came back, I was a bit worried because I didn't know what I will do in Israel. In United States, I find myself earning a living very nicely eventually from all those Google videos.
Yeah.
And
I
in LA,
remember
I
that.
began, what?
I remember those videos.
And then I began rolling, inside all those commercials in the year in LA. And I said, what I will do in Israel? How would it work? So when I came back, I was really kind of in an enigma, what's going to really happen and what will be the right direction. And then I found myself, I advertised by a recommendation on the Taasiya. It's kind of a website of the industry. With few examples of scripts in English, because I made few commercials in English that I wrote myself. My English is great when I can read and check it out. When I need to speak, it's
It's okay. We're not correcting anybody's anything today. We're just hosting you. So have you succeeded in Israel?
So what happened
And
is
you found true love.
I found twice, three times true love. Now I'm in the third true love in Israel, and I hope it will be stable this time. I'm an artist, crazy. What can I do? But it was very symbolic that the first job I got was through this Taasiya website from a guy that lived for 20 years in the Silicon Valley, Jewish Israeli guy. And he came back to Israel, and he had a very interesting story of kind of a big epic story of the escape of his father from Nazi Europe. There are a lot of stories like this, but his story was really special. And he offered me to write a script in English, which was a challenge. I got to a very deep perfectionistic mode because I wanted to know everything in my English is okay. I even shared with different friends to give me feedbacks on the dialogues, but I really worked on a full script in English. We rewrote it for years. Even lately, we did another rerun on it, but we already tried to spread the word and to find funds. I told him from the beginning, it will not be easy because it's not so sexy today to make a feature film about escape from Nazi Europe. It's an important subject. The script is very interesting, but who knows, maybe one day we will do it. In my core instincts, I don't feel it has enough of the drama that this producer will give budget for. So I didn't try to.
So how are you making a living in the past few years when we haven't been in touch?
So I did a lot of commercial for small and medium businesses. It wasn't easy all the time. It's a challenging field, let's say. If you don't find a specific hook with a specific big company, it's not easy. But I found my living from it, and it was fine. Lately, like something like a year and a half ago, I began to lose my passion to this perspective because my big dream still was the filmmaking. So I find myself writing a few TV shows. Mm-hmm. And I began something like a year ago, maybe even a year and a half, to offer it to different channels and to be in different kind of negotiations with different production companies. I got to be in few meetings that I got to handshake and to talk and to replace phone numbers and emails, even with important people in Netflix and HBO and a few other channels. So today I'm in a place where I'm working to promote my own dreams. I'm saying, okay, I made enough of the tiny things, and I hope it will happen. You know, I'm on the process. The Corona doesn't help.
That's for sure.
But the Corona brought me into different realm than I imagined, because in parallel to all what I shared with you, since I was 21 when I finished my army service, I had also kind of a spiritual path. I suffered from horrible dizziness,
yeah,
and nobody found what is the reason. So eventually, and it happened at the end of my army service, like in the 2 last week of my 3 army service, it began and it just became worse. And eventually, a good friend in my cinematography studies, the friend who I visited also in LA, she moved to LA after some time. She took me to an amazing woman, healer, that succeeded to just take from me those dizzy feelings after a full year of suffering from it. And during this year, I went to any possible doctor. When I got desperate, I went even to a psychologist and I said, maybe it's stress from the end of my army service, I don't know. And the psychologist said, you're a positive person, maybe you have issues, but to have such a physical thing because of psychological issues all the time, not logical in my eyes, go continue searching what you have. And eventually this healing process, 1 hour healing process, made me feel crazy electricity in my hands, feeling amazing, like emotional block just going out of me. And I was fascinated. I felt amazing feeling of happiness like never before in my life. All the physical thing disappeared. And I decided to begin to read, to search what it is all about. And I saw that the description in many spiritual, philosophical books describe it as a kind of tiny experience of enlightenment. And because I experienced it and it really fit what they describe, what I felt, I understood that maybe I'm really having this thing because it was really powerful. I remember in those first times, it was awkward, like people around me, I really felt like a magnet. Women came to me very easily. Connection with people, everything flew like really in an amazing way. And my inner energy was crazy, like crazily good. And I decided to learn from this woman, from this healer. And I met in her place. I have a lot of stories about women in my life in my talk.
We're running out of time, and now we come to the women.
Okay, ask me what you want. Let's.
No, you've talked about so many things. So now you are cured. You know, maybe the people from Chabad were right. You know, you are one of the most spiritual people that I know, and for that you don't need to wear a head covering and go to a synagogue or a mosque.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of love, a romantic person, not only for individuals but for the whole planet.
Mm-hmm. So I will tell you only in one sentence that what I'm doing in the last year and doing it more and more.
Yeah.
Is I'm doing spiritual workshops that involve a lot of knowledge that I got during the years, both in my studies, cinematography studies, and since then in my practice. A lot of acting, directing actors knowledge, a lot of body language knowledge, and I blend it with a lot of spiritual knowledge I got. It took me many years to do with it something by itself because I felt I'm not spiritual enough. And after some time, good friends told me and relatives told me, listen, it's crazy what you have to give. Just stop waiting for the moment. Nobody is in such an amazing sphere. It's just a lie. Just go and give what you have to give. And people coming to me, and it's really happening. And I have Zoom groups with people making processes with me, and they don't want to go.
Are they paying you money?
Pay me, yes. Yeah.
They pay you money for this?
Yeah.
Ah, good.
Yes.
I like this. Spirituality
yes.
with a profit motive.
Yes.
So you're
as much as you come with an honest motive, it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a prophet with profit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best. So Danniel, you are one of the truly wonderful people I've met in my life. And ever since you moved to Haifa, we haven't been that much in touch. But you used to come to Tel Aviv to see me. And
right. I need to arrive. I promised a few times, and I really need to do that.
And I shared on Facebook the little movie we made together with no budget for Yossi Vardi. And Yossi Vardi is a big part of my life over the past 15 years. So Danniel, it's been wonderful to host you.
Thank you.
And to hear your twists and turns to bring you where you are now. And I wish you from all my heart that a few months from now I'll get a call from you saying, "No, you won't believe it.
It will happen."
I sold the show." But, we're all on this trajectory because I'm also now trying to find an agent in the States for my children's stories. So as long as we're searching, as long as we have integrity, as long as we're trying to break in with our own original material, this is the enlightenment for me.
I absolutely agree. You summarized
So
it well.
take care of yourself, my dear friend.
You too.
And I want to hear good news from you in the near future. Danniel Fishler,
Mel Rosenberg, it was a pleasure.
dreamer, traveler, romantic. Thank you very much.
Bye.